I'm not hitting on her. I'm just trying to be
You tried to tell me today that you'd like another goal. 2 days! 2 days! You don't have a girlfriend, you idiot!
Hi guys, welcome back to Love Island or Lie Island on Metro.co.uk, and my name is Emma Kelly, and I'm joined again today by body language expert Judy James, who is here to discuss the penultimate week of Love Island.
Should we do the tears that they do on Love Island? Nothing coming out. Yeah.
Molly's lovely tears. I mean, it has been a crazy week, even though it's the penultimate week, even though we're coming up to the final. Usually people are settled by now.
It's like they've all lost the script, you know, or somebody has said, oh, you've got another 3 weeks to go, and lied to them, because you're absolutely right. They should all be, it should just be going through to the, but yeah, what are they up to? But I love it, because I think they don't realise that they're destroying their chances of winning.
I mean, we've had people recoupling, dumping, there's basically friends going into the final, which is kind of great because they don't usually have that.
More of that. I mean, I think this is where the viewers will start to take over a little bit, which often happens with reality TV, where the votes start to be a bit more, we'd like the show to go in this direction, so we're going to vote for this, just to sort of upset everything, and I like that.
So we've had a really action-packed week, and I want to go back to something that is, it feels ages away now, but it was when Michael was being dumped from the villa just before he had, and he was dumped by Amber for Greg. So we're going to have a look at his wonderful face.
Greg.
I mean,
the reaction shots, all of them, I think they're filmed a week beforehand, you know. It's like one of these big soap opera dramas. His face again, we got the classic tongue. We've seen so much of Michael's tongue on that show. I mean, it deserves a show all of its own. It was beginning to kind of lick his teeth and protrude before he heard the result, which I think in Michael's handbook of body language means that he had got an inkling that that might happen. But when it was announced, I think that deep down secretly, he didn't think it was going to happen, because we saw, again, the tongue, but then the lips, but then the very big swallow. And I think it was a little bit like somebody just punched him in the solar plexus. So although he kind of guessed it intellectually, I think emotionally, he thought everybody loves me and she'll recouple with me eventually, we'll get back together, you know, like everybody else. He probably thought there was another month to go in there. And suddenly, no, he was out. But their other faces are hilarious. And you know what they're doing. They're trying to already get the projectile tears going, which is proving even more difficult as this show goes on.
I mean, it was a perfect ending for him, though, because he had this big sort of hero to villain journey over the last couple of weeks. It was very satisfying to see him having the rug pulled out from underneath him.
Yeah, I think he was a great character in there, and I probably would have liked to see him stay to the end. And I think that he probably thought that even though he wasn't chosen, that he'd stay in there and there'd still be this kind of brinkmanship with Amber and everything. But yeah, okay, he was a bad boy in there, but there again, if you've just been cobbled together with somebody very quickly just because you've met them for 2 seconds and chosen them, you can't expect people to automatically then want to stay with them. I think there's ways of doing it, that's the problem. And he wasn't very good at that, but yeah, I was sad to see him go, because I think he was a lot more interesting than some of the other people that were left. But they weren't left over for very long, so there
That's true. And we have another amazing moment from this week, which was the Anna and Jordan storm that hit the villa. I mean, did anyone see that coming?
No, even them. Well, I don't know, maybe they got it written down under a rock somewhere. You must have an argument now. So who were like... Well, I was going to say, what was he thinking? But the answer was nothing, really, was it? I mean, I think, again, I think what's happening to him and Curtis and with some of the others, they're being very influenced by that. When they get an inkling of what the public, you know, if they're put in the bottom three and everything, or they're told they haven't got enough sexual chemistry, or they're no longer the most popular couple, they were in the bottom three, weren't they, Anna and Jordan? And I think that, for them, I think at that point he thought, we're not going to win together. I'd just go for whatever, and even if I raised my profile individually, I might get on Dancing on Ice, you know. What the hell?
And we're going to watch that amazing row that happened this week, and yeah, you're right, it came after them being in the bottom two.
I'm not hitting on her, I'm just trying to be
You tried to tell me today that you'd like another girl. 2 days! 2 days! What kind of guy asks a girl to be their girlfriend and 2 days later they crack on with a fucking other girl?
I'm not cracking on,
No,
no.
I
You don't
heard.
have the conversation.
I had a fucking feeling as well.
Am I not allowed to have a conversation with someone?
You know, have a fucking girlfriend, you idiot!
Maybe if you weren't so negative, I'm
You
trying to put it
asked me
outside.
to be
Oh,
your
you're doing this
girlfriend.
negative
You asked me
all
to
the
be your
time. It's
girlfriend
so
so you
boring.
can get through to the finals because you're a game player. Yes,
I'm a
you
game
are.
player.
And
If I was a
knew
game
it.
player, I would
had
have.
a fucking feeling.
If I was a
Why
game
did you
player, I
ask
would
me
have
to be your
stayed with you.
girlfriend?
I mean, there's so much to unpack there.
It was just weird. It seemed so scripted in a way. And I don't know if you noticed, but they were kind of both smiling at one point. You know, when she went flying over to him, and I know some people, when they get angry, they might weirdly smile. It could be a baring of the teeth, that means I'm going to rip your throat out. But it wasn't that type of a smile. It was almost a suppressed smile, as in, ha ha, here we go for the big scene. And he was smiling as well. Now, again, that could be a fear response. Sorry, I'm doing her gesticulation now. That could be a fear response, but it was almost like they were looking at one another and, you know, we knew that we didn't really get on, but here we've got camera time for having a bit of a Barney, and it was almost as though secretly they both found it amusing. And I have a feeling that they probably knew, like a lot of the couples in there now, I think they knew that actually they're not really right together, clearly, going to hang on to the finale, finding out that, well, there's no point, so let's try another route. And I get these little looks between them sometimes where they're quite knowing, as though, yeah, well, OK, we've got nothing to lose, let's go for the big row. And again, I love Curtis's face. He suddenly went intellectual, didn't he? I've got my glasses out. I should be on Question Time or maybe Newsnight, but I shall hang on in here anyway. I love that guy's body language.
And did you think that the rest of the Islanders were being legit in their reactions?
No, I mean, well, it's become a cultural thing, isn't it? I mean, it's always decreed now that all the men must get on and all the women must get on, and the men behave like meerkats romping when, you know, anybody kisses one another, they start careering into one another. The women all go flying up and start joining in. But again, and she's got to be my body language star of the entire series, Maura. I mean, the way she went over there with her face popping up. And
it was incredible.
Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And, you know, she's the one for me that is kind of off script a lot of the time and doesn't care. And I probably, all right, she's been a bit naughty yesterday, but I like her for that. I think she's genuinely hilarious.
So we will move on then to your queen of body language. So last night we saw her go on her final date with Curtis after having a bit of a Barney over their contrasting sex drives in the villa. So we're going to have a look at their final date in the villa.
Even when you're gone to the toilet, for Jesus' sake, I'm like, where's Curtis? You're funny. I love your smile, by the way. For some reason, when you smile, I smile. I don't know why. It's weird. I've noticed that.
I mean, we have two very different sort of sides of a date going on. What do you make of that?
The harp in the background. I mean, it looked like Curtis's batteries have been taken out, hadn't it? I don't know how to react to this, but I will carry on smiling. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, it came so suddenly because she'd had a big go at him for giving Jordan the wrong advice, quite rightly. Then we got the kind of, you know, where she was wrong actually in attacking him.
She definitely was.
Not doing bits. If she'd have been a guy, that would have been, yeah.
And I absolutely love her, but she definitely was in the wrong.
Yeah, that was wrong. If it's wrong for a guy to do it, it's wrong for a woman to do it, etc., etc. Mind you, that was completely upstaged by that wobbling, cuddly toy, and I can never unsee that, I'm afraid.
Don't think any of us can.
That was bad.
Poor Ali Belly.
Yeah, get that animal out. But then suddenly, because they had to do what everybody else was doing, which was the big romantic moment, she had a go at him, but then again it had to be all forgiven really quickly. And then she really launched herself, didn't she? You know, when you go to the toilet, I'm always asking where you are, you know, which has got several different connotations on that one. And he completely seemed to lose it. And in the end, getting her up to dance, which is exactly what he did with Amy.
Yes.
it was hilarious. It's one of the best moments in the entire series. I mean, they are the most mismatched couple in history, but it makes great television. I don't think it's intended to, but I didn't like when Maura was doing Surrendered Woman, you know, when she was... that awful mirthless giggle that she was doing and trying to be all coy. But I like that she's kind of fighting back now. But for him, you know, it's like, you know, this should be the bit where we do romantic and we're arguing, and I think he's completely, I would say, lost the plot, and actually lost the plot.
And do you think that they are being legit in the way that they're carrying on their romantic relationships? Do you think that's going to be a thing?
No, no. You're not going to say no, whoever you pick. Was the harpist real? No. He paired off with her because, again, I think it went back to this audience thing where he got wind of the fact that he and Amy had no sexual chemistry. So obviously then he just thought, oh, must find somebody with sexual chemistry. And he overshopped on that one, didn't he? I mean, you know, she's from Sexual Chemistry R Us. But it wasn't, then that was too much for him. He only wanted a little bit of acted sexual chemistry. And he's been kind of regretting it ever since, I think, in a way. But she's been looking so bored. You know, the date, juggling oranges on the first day, how was that ever going to entertain her? She's a feisty woman, and sitting there at that second date with the heart going. I know she comes back and says, that was the best day of my life, but it's a kind of tone of voice. You think, oh, look, you've only got 3 more days to go. You know, put up with it if you can. Again, nothing wrong with him. Nothing wrong with her, but together it's not really a match made in anyway, really.
So we're going to look at another match that is also a new one that we haven't really seen a lot of, but we have Amber and Greg, who went off on their catamaran.
Sorry, I was getting seasick. She was nearly throwing up.
So we're going to have a look at their final date.
Since I've been single, I never had an instant connection with anyone. I struggled to let people in as well, and it was just so easy with you. I was very nervous coming in, especially meeting you, like the tough nut of the lot. Like, I went straight into the lines then at you, but no, it was amazing, and I'm just delighted I got to meet you.
So do we think that Amber is really into Greg?
No. He's a nice guy, what's not to like, but her acting was so wooden in that scene, wasn't it? And I think she was just nailed to the deck, trying not to throw up or fall over him.
Don't blame her.
That was a struggle for both of them, I think. But yeah, you just find that they were going through the motions, and I think for me this is maybe something that the programme needs to address, that ritual was pretty good for the first few series. Now it's become such a formulaic thing. I don't think any of them well, we've still got the others to see yet, but it looks over formula, you know, to sit there, oh, we've got to sit on the boat, and you know, she's just holding on to a drink. He's got to make this whole speech. Her smile was the fakest one I've ever seen her do, and good luck to her. But I think these, in terms of body language, these dates are now the low point of the show for me, because they're just not showing up anything genuine. And you know, to sit there in front of the camera and have to explain exactly why you like the other person, and then it's all put to music. I mean, you know, we could have a little bit of grit, couldn't we? You know, maybe she could dive off the side of the boat and swim for land or something. But no, I'm not getting those dates, I'm afraid.
And do you think that Greg is interested in Amber from what we have seen so far, or do you think he is thinking ahead to the final, considering he's only been in there a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he was given no time to get on with anything other than meet her and pair off with her, otherwise he wouldn't have been in there. Again, he seems like a really nice guy. But he went in and he's stayed to a certain extent one-dimensional, which is the nice guy. It's almost like the script said, we need the nice guy now, so that she gets a nice guy rather than Michael, the villain, who's going out. So we haven't seen any shade or light in his character, I don't think. And it's a shame. I think that would have been quite nice. So is he into her? I don't know that he knows that much about her, quite honestly. I find that they look very nice together. It's good to see her smiling, albeit fake smiling, at the end. Better than Maura's fake giggling, which is gruesome. And we'll see whether the other ones can do better on their pretendy dates.
So the last pretendy date that we saw last night was India and Ovie, who have become a bit of a fan favourite pairing, considering they haven't been together that long. So we're going to have a look at their fire-breathing date last night.
Harley's a sweet girl, but you stood out so clearly to me. Like, I don't know.
Do you feel like you was on the wrong day?
Yeah. I still want to know so much more, and I know there's a lot more to learn about you.
So cute.
Ready for the afterglow.
I mean, whatever we can take from that, they're a very good-looking couple, at least.
Sure. Nothing from her because nothing moved. I think she sent in one of those cardboard cutouts, bless her. He's so good. I mean, he'll be the one that will take those through to the win if that's what happens. He actually does body language leakage, can I just say. Big role on the drums because nobody else on Love Island does it, which is
the first time it's happened this series.
Ever in Love Island, I think. I mean, you can actually see while he was talking to her, his hands were twiddling and fiddling. And I sit and watch that programme and I think, there's only going to be the one layer. And suddenly thought, no, there's something interesting going on here. A little bit of tension going on, maybe. He used some interesting eye contact. I mean, the hat was good enough. We could see his face. He did seem to be quite genuine at certain points. And as I say, we could de-layer his body language by looking. I mean, as opposed to her, which was nothing, he was being very giving. And I really like that about him. I think that's possibly why he might win, actually, because we're seeing more from him. And I think people that watch reality, and I know people love it, and we all do, because of its airbrushed qualities, but I think to airbrush it too much, where we can't maybe see somebody saying this but showing that, or, you know, what their feet are doing, or I think that's a shame, and I think people like that, and I think that's one of the reasons why they like him. He's not stuck to the particular formula in terms of how he delivers him.
I mean, we do think that if anyone is going to come from behind and win this competition without being in a massive romantic couple, it's going to be Ovie. I mean, Molly May and Tommy are the favourites to win. What do you think about them?
What's it, Belly? That was...
Ellie Belly.
That's got to lose votes, hasn't it? That was...
Everyone is scarred. Absolutely
I
scarred.
can't. I just want to... Somebody should go in there and rescue that thing. It was the best and the worst shot all in one go, wasn't it? They'd be the cliched couple to win. You know, if people only want the Jack and Danny and and they'll get the same, whatever the ice version of it is, but they'll get the winter version of those two again. Everybody will be going through that formula, and then we won't know. I will, because I read their body language, but nobody else will know until they come out that, they weren't a real couple. And I think people perhaps deserve better than that. I'm nothing against those two. I think they've done really well. Like Danny and Jack, they look great together. We don't see a lot of them now particularly. But going forward, it's nice to see people that might be a bit more giving and a bit more fun and a few more dimensions so that we can all begin to see different depths in their personality.
I think all of the viewers would really want that. I know I would definitely want someone a bit left field to win it this year. Someone a bit out there, not like the Jack and Danny sort of cookie cutter couple that we've been getting.
Absolutely. Almost even Curtis and Maura, but he won't get that he's been funny in there. That's the trouble.
He won't, will he?
If they win, it will worry me slightly, because I think he'll think he's got to stay with her and we can all go, no, surprise, you don't have to. You know, that is not why we voted for you. I mean, who would you want to see after the show? That's the thing, isn't it, really?
It's true. So who is the one that you would like to see the most?
I suppose Ovie. I don't care if he gets out and then just says goodbye straight away. Yeah, he's an interesting guy, and he's a cool guy, and I think that would be great. I don't really want to see him in a couple when he comes out. Not a problem. Maura, her acerbic wit, especially. Maybe we could have Maura and Ovie going for a career together afterwards, just being cool and rude and then flirty and everything. There we go. I won't charge them for that idea.
Okay, I will definitely watch that TV show, whatever it is. So that is the penultimate week over with. So next time we see you, it will be after the final. We'll know who's won.
The parents will have been in, won't they?
The parents will have been in, so you have that to look forward to, which is exciting.
Naturalistic body language there, always.
Amazing. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and make sure to return next week for the final episode of Love Island or Lie Island. And thanks as always
Thank
to
you.
Judy.